What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be redoing my mock draft 7.0 because Olufashanu of Penn State decided to return. Also, you guys let me know a lot of really good key facts, especially about the Detroit Lions scheme being a little bit more hybrid than I once expected, so I'm going to be changing it up. I thought that's totally worth it, one, because of Olu, but two, because I made a mistake, and that's why I ask you guys to always leave information down below. Give me as much feedback as you want. Don't be a dick about it. A lot of y'all were a little bit cruel, and that's okay. I'll give you a pass. But I want to learn from my mistakes, so I give you guys better content. So feel free to give me as much feedback as possible. Just remember, don't be a dick about it. Let's get right into this. Of course, if you guys are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube fun stuff. We just breached 5K not too long ago, so nice to see the channel starting to grow. Of course, would love to talk to you guys over in the Discord. Going to be hyping that up a lot because it's free. But I also do tape studies over there. We're also going to be doing a fan mock draft. Lots of really cool stuff. You guys get to message me anytime. And we also do a bunch of fan hangouts there. So please join that. Again, it's free. I don't know, like a lot of other people charge to be part of their Discords. I don't really care about that. I don't care about the money. So that's why I like to give you guys good content, because I really could give a rat's ass about the cash. Number one, overall, why do I keep wanting to say the Detroit Lions are stuck in the back of my head. They're haunting me by the amount of comments I had about them. But Houston Texans, we all know where we're going with this. There's no need to waste a bunch of time. Bryce Young is in an echelon of his own in terms of the quarterbacks in this class. I just think that his processing is unbelievable. His ability to make plays on his own is incredible. You've been able to see how the talent around him has dropped, but he's been able to elevate them to still at least somewhat compete for the playoff, and obviously they didn't get there, but because of the fact that we've seen him struggle a lot, we've seen him in more realistic NFL scenarios. The rosters have been a little bit more equal than they have in the past with quarterbacks like Tua and Mac, so I kind of have a much better feeling about where we're going to be getting, or what we're going to be getting out of Bryce Young, especially in certain scenarios that are going to be replicated in the NFL. Pick number 2 for the Bears. Again, you do look at the next set of teams here, and you have 3 teams. One of them is definitely going to be taking one of the, like, I don't want to drop from 2 to, let's just say, 6, and then lose out on one of the star players. It just is not worth moving back for, even if you get that second first round. I know we have a lot of holds, but again, Justin Fields, you have one guaranteed hit. Darnell Mooney, yes. And then you have some really good defensive pieces. However, there's nobody who are going to be stalwarts of your team. There's no cornerstone except Justin Fields at this moment. And you just need to take time and build the rosters so that you have a couple stalwarts before you start trying to say, we're giving up on potentially a really damn good run and a playoff run. So again, you could trade back, get more value pieces. However, after pick number 5, in pick number 6 especially, you're really starting to jump. You're really starting to drop a full tier of player. Like, this is the elite zone right here, and I think I really want to stay in the elite zone. It's not worth an extra first-round pick to get somebody who, you're taking more of a swing on in the late first. I still think it's a good idea if you guys want to engage in that trade, but I know damn well Jalen Carter's going to be gone, Will Anderson's going to be gone, Myles Murphy's going to be gone, hell, Joey Porter's probably going to be gone. So I mean, you don't even need a corner like that, but even if you wanted to get the top tier corners, you're still stretching. And I think the best thing this team can do is just get an identity on defense again. The Bears need an identity there. Again, there's going to be offensive linemen there in the second. So, and there's going to be edge rushers there too. So I love the idea of Jalen Carter. Again, a lot of you guys are going to say, hey, go Will Anderson. But I'll tell you this, because of the fact that I've studied all these players, you guys haven't exactly been able to see all the edge rushers in this class. In the second round, you're still going to get somebody that's most likely worth a first-round pick. And that's incredible. Last year's class was awesome in edge rushers. This year is even better. So I would say interior defensive line, you have some fringe guys who could be like roughly worth that first-round pick, maybe at that point. But there's zero guarantee of that. And you have to play to the draft strengths. And there's something called opportunity cost. It's like, okay, what am I giving up by taking this guy here? So for me, by giving up on Will Anderson and taking Jalen Carter, I know that maybe I will get somebody who is 80%, 85% of what Will Anderson is. If I give up on Jalen Carter, first off, the tier from him to the next best is significant. So even if you got the next best D tackle here at pick 3, you're getting 80 to 85% of Jalen Carter. I'm genuinely confident in that. So instantly, you have a much better opportunity cost associated with Jalen Carter than Will Anderson. So by round 2, you might be getting 60% of what Jalen Carter can be. If you guys follow my track there, you are just getting the best value for the pick. Obviously, we all know BPA is usually the way to go when it comes to these situations. Jalen Carter, I'm still going to pound the table until we see another QB needy team move up here, which then you could talk about maybe a team jumping to be able to get one of those top guys, and then you could still get a very good value. But for now, we're seeing Jalen Carter. Again, he could be that Aaron Donald-esque player. He could end up busting out. But you know what? You're sitting here at number 2 anyways. You'll be there next year if he ends up busting out. And then you could move forward. But if he hits, that's somebody who's going to be on your team for 15 to 20 years. Unbelievable talent. Like, his talent is just god tier. His athleticism's off the charts. He was better than Jordan Davis, who's, before the injury, dominating in the NFL at 19 years of age. He's been showing it. He has production. He has measurables. That is exactly what you're looking for. He's going to be the identity of this team, and we all know that the Bears love to have an identity on defense. This is a really good piece to build around. Pick number 3. So this is where y'all corrected me. I was not as aware that it was so hybrid 3-4-4-3. I thought it was very much heavy 4-3. Therefore, I was like, okay, Will Anderson's not going to be able to fit very well. So that is 100% on me. I'm gonna take my chin out there. I'm gonna just say I'll take it on the chin for you, which I appreciate. I really do appreciate you guys letting me know that, because I don't like making the same mistake multiple times. I think Will Anderson is the right move here. You have multiple quarterbacks here that could be ID'd as franchise level, but I'll just give you guys a quick peek into my board right here, and you guys can see where I have CJ Stroud. You guys can see where I have Will Levis too. I'm having a video come out this week explaining that more in depth, so you guys can feel free to check that out. But I don't have full confidence in CJ Stroud. And I'm not going to drop him into here. Honestly, personally, based on your guys' roster, I honestly think Derek Carr would be a perfect guy to bring in. We might not send him to the Colts this one time just to see like a potential alternate universe. But personally, I would love to drop a veteran quarterback in here that's just better than Jared Goff. You see, you guys are sitting here at pick 13 with Jared Goff. Just imagine what you can do with another quarterback that is one tier above. And I think that you'd be in a very, very good spot. You have a very good team. That's why I put you guys in the playoffs when I did my initial records predictions. So you're sitting here as a gift from the Rams, and you get my number 1 player in the class, Will Anderson. Again, I don't think that CJ Stroud, with the surrounding cast he has, is a great projection to the NFL. I don't. And I still have him as my QB2. I just think there's a lot more complications to it than a lot of people like to admit. And when's the last time that an Ohio State quarterback has not beaten Michigan in his entire career? It's a little bit worrisome. It is a little bit worrisome. And there are halves of games, there's even full games where you really don't understand what CJ's doing. There's halves where it's incredible. And same thing with Will Levis. That's why, I still have CJ above Will. But the inconsistencies are an extremely great concern. I do have to put a lot of stock into that. And at pick number 4, we have the Seattle Seahawks via the Denver Broncos. Now, here's the issue. We have 2 franchise-level quarterbacks potentially viewed by the NFL analysts, at least, as 2 potential franchise quarterbacks. And I do know that there are a couple hungry teams, like the Raiders, that could certainly be trying to poach one of these guys. However, I don't fully I went through the scenario in my head. Actually, I already went through an entire mock draft where I was trying to see what would happen if I traded up with the Raiders for CJ Stroud. The issue is that you'd have to give up an extra first. That is a little bit rich for a team trying to get rid of their franchise quarterback and then drafting another one. It just doesn't really make very much sense. I still think that the Raiders should be getting rid of Carr. Out of respect to Carr, he doesn't fit a McDaniel scheme, and his talent is a lot better than what usually comes out on the field. So here at pick number 4, you could certainly go with CJ Stroud. you could just say, hey, we're going to take you, we're going to sit you. We have good weapons. We have a pretty damn good offensive line developing on the interior, but regardless, we got pretty much our tackles down for the meantime. You could be our guy. And that'd be a pretty crazy development if I'm going to be completely frank, because of the fact that I'd be in the exact same situation I was. But I think that could be a very, very wise move. It's just like, okay, listen, this is a free pick. This is free, man. This is FREE. I forgot what commercial that was from. Doesn't matter. Regardless, I think this could certainly be a CJ pick because of the fact that, are you guys going to be in striking range? You guys have a really good run game. Geno seems to be cooking. I don't think so. I don't. Myles Murphy doesn't exactly fit you guys the way that you'd want him to. And I'll scroll up a little bit just so it looks a little prettier. Is this my full big board? Oh, oops. My bad, y'all. I have it look a little bit prettier for you right here. There we go. Better. I was like, wait a second. It looks a little funny. So, regardless, you look at my big board. I don't have Myles Murphy as high as Isaiah McGuire, but I don't really have another guy who fits your scheme, more so 3-4 based, at this moment. Nobody's near that Will Anderson tier. B.J. Ojulari and Jared Verse are next. And I still think they could certainly be respectable in this range. I don't think going them, like, even though they don't usually go until like the late first or second round, I don't think that should disqualify them from being this high. It's just sometimes hard to find a team that's desperate for an edge rusher. So, with this pick, I think Myles Murphy's still a phenomenal option. But I know Geno's been doing phenomenally, and I still think he could be the answer. But sometimes it's okay to take a free pick and say, hey, we're not going to be in the top 5 ever again. If Geno keeps cooking, we're great. If Geno's not cooking, we have CJ. I think that's a good place to be. I think that's a comfortable spot to be in. And I know that you guys like to roll out your quarterback a lot more. CJ doesn't necessarily use his athleticism the way I'd want him to for your scheme. But I think this is a very comfortable spot to say, hey, listen, we're going to go CJ. We're going to sit tight. And we're going to be pretty happy with this juncture. I do certainly believe that CJ could be a future guy for you. And if not, there will be teams wanting to trade their first-round picks for him. I don't see anybody worth that pick for you. And I don't see a team spending multiple firsts to move up for a guy. I just don't. Especially when it's the Raiders, because of the fact that they necessarily aren't ready just to drop, like, plug and play a quarterback. So pick number 5. Again, I'm dying for Will Anderson to be on this team. I really don't know exactly where to go at this juncture for the Panthers. Now, personally, I don't think Will Levis, without the presence of Frank Reich, is going to be as big of an impact as Matt Corral would be with another first-round pick on your team. So I don't necessarily see the trade-off being worth it unless Frank becomes the head coach, which, again, I think that Will Levis is Carson Wentz with leadership capabilities. So I think it's a very big praise. I have him in my top 32, and I don't like putting quarterbacks in my top 32 now that don't really need to be. So I understand Will Levis certainly is somebody who I would at least consider here, especially if you get Frank. He turned Wentz from 15-15 touchdown to interception ratio last year in Philly to somebody who, besides one bad last game, had a phenomenal year and almost brought the Colts to the playoffs and looked a lot better than they did this year with Matt Ryan. So I think that would be a very wise move if you can make that happen. However, I am not going to go that far. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to project a coaching hire. That's not how I roll here. So if I am sitting in this spot, I of course would love to trade back. I would. I just don't see teams moving up for anybody. Because again, I would want to go after someone like B.J. Ojulari, or, we could actually do that. We could trade back with a team who wants to go after Myles Murphy, who's an absolute stud. He's going to be a stalwart on your defense. I could definitely see a team like the Cardinals moving up for an edge rusher. I know y'all need a corner as well, but I could also see you guys moving up for Joey Porter, but Keely Ringo would be a good option if he fell to you guys as well. You don't need to move up for him. I don't think that the Texans are in a necessarily great position to move up because of the fact that it would cost almost a future first. It would cost at least 1 second round pick. So I'm not seeing the trade up value here. It's a very awkward draft order at the moment. If it comes out, this is going to be the weirdest pick, in my opinion, of the draft. I think you might have to send it on Will Levis just because I don't really feel comfortable with any other team spending the necessary capital to move up to this spot. It's a long-winded way of saying I have no idea what the hell to do with this pick. And this is exactly where I actually quit my mock draft last time, where I was like, dude, what do I do? And, Myles might be the best move. You can kick him inside. You can put him on the outside. He doesn't fit necessarily. But if you want to go best player available, this probably is going to be the best player available. So let's go Myles. Let's see what happens. Let's see how the draft turns out. Of course, steals him away from the Eagles, where that is my number one pick for the Eagles if they had a choice. This is going to be Joey Porter Jr., who is a perfect scheme fit. Again, not Garrett Bradbury, but James Bradbury is going to cost probably $17 to $20 million based off of his play. But he's been absolutely incredible free agent this year. Gonna be gone. You desperately need that corner 2. And Joey Porter, you see him on my board, number 3. His talent is incredible. I'm a huge fan of Joey Porter Jr. I think that he has both production in terms of pass breakups as well as the frame. He has the measurables and he has the production. That's the 1-2. Can you, can you have the build for us to make you an elite player? Yes. Lanky, tall, aggressive, strong, and can play the run. So good. So he also has that, and then he has all the pass breakups. It gets a bit grabby in coverage, but again, we're in an NFL where you have to be a little bit grabby to be successful. I'm going to take that risk. So at pick number 7, I think that this, again, I'm still getting over a cold, so give me a little bit of leeway with the voice. I'm trying here. This is probably going to be Kelee Ringo. I still think it's the right move. Will Levis still on the board. I don't really see a team maybe until the Lions that should at least consider taking him. It's for a 24-year-old quarterback, it's a little bit rough trying to move up for Will Levis. I do think Kelee Ringo is going to test out of his mind, so I do think that is the best possible scenario. Corner also necessarily is not as deep as you'd want it to be, to where you can get 90% of Kelee Ringo in the next round, versus edge could be in that range. Pick number 8 for Green Bay. I think Peter Skoronski has to be the move. Again, out of realism, if it were solely up to me, I'm going Quentin Johnston in a heartbeat. I think that's the best move for the team, 100%. But I do know the offensive line, you still need pieces. Zach Tom, love him. Big fan of him. He was a second rounder to me last year. Damn near a fringe first. I really like Zach Tom. But then also you got Sean Ryan, developmental tackle guard hybrid. But injuries happen all the damn time. And Peter Skoronski also might not be able to play tackle due to his 32-inch arms. Of course, because he's shorter, when you think about when you're putting your arms out to make contact, he's going to be lower so he can have a similar distance to his point of contact. Not going to go into the physics for you guys, but basically, if you look at angle of declination versus it's triangle shit, man. I'm not even going to go into that. But I think Peter Skoronski is the best value here. I do think that without Olu Fashanu, so again, we are Penn State. Their gear is just so sick. That's why I had to get one of these. I think that that's going to be the best move for the franchise. Can play guard, but also can play tackle. I think that versatility and his ability to play up north in harsh climates and be a really good... He's been amazing in pass protection, but he's really good in the run game too. That is going to be heavily coveted, especially by this team when you're probably going to try to transition to Jordan Love or get rid of Jordan Love. I don't know. You have to have good protection. Bakhtiari's been unreliable. Elton Jenkins has been doing his job at a billion different positions. I think I kind of want to take a little bit of the pressure off. So Peter Skoronski, I think, would be the best move for the team. Pick number 9. So again, Will Levis is here. I don't think that's the best move. Because I've already discussed this. You need someone who's a little bit more stable in terms of less risky if you're going to be able to work with Josh McDaniels. And we've seen guys like Mac Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo. If Jimmy Garoppolo can come here, I think that's the best case scenario. I don't know how San Francisco would let him go, but Tom Brady, Obviously, like that mold is the best mold. And I think Derek Carr should be gone out of respect for Derek Carr. But Will Levis is not that guy. Will Levis does not fit them. And I'm going to respect that. So we got to go to the next best thing. I think that's down to corner and offensive line. Top two corners, well, not the top two. Keeley is the best fit for Arizona because of the fact that he is from Arizona. This could be Christian Gonzalez, and I love him. I'm a huge fan. Now, I think offensive tackle might be a little bit more valuable, but with guys like Tyler Mumford, you found starter level players, or at least backup who can play level players later on, and I love that. So I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez here. Again, number 10 on my big board. I think he is an absolutely dominant, lockdown, gritty-ass corner. And he could be the best corner in the class. I would not put that out of the realm of possibility. I mean, to be fair, y'all see that he's cornerback 3 for me, but Jalen's a lot more of a zone-specific corner. I think Christian Gonzalez, he's, 1, versatile, but 2, I mean, man, you want someone to lock somebody up, he's going to be your guy. I mean, I'm thinking about putting him as my pure CB2. Like, I'm in love with Christian Gonzalez, and I'm waiting for the All-22 to be fully out for me to do these reevaluations. But from what I've seen, I've already done my initial evaluations based on All-22. Based on what I've seen since, this guy deserves to definitely be in this category. I would not be afraid of taking him top 5. I wish that the Panthers needed corner a little bit more. Then I'd be considering both Christian Gonzalez as well as Joey Porter. Pick number 10, y'all know where this is going. We're going to go to the Quentin Johnston route. Again, you're upgrading at Nico Collins. I don't think Lovie Smith or the majority of that staff's going to be there. You guys have pointed that out quite heavily. So I think the best thing to do, you have a solid enough offensive line there. Probably need to get one more interior guy, but you're not going to do that here. So you will have a solid enough offensive line. You have good running back help. I mean, Dameon Pierce might need another buddy in there, but you have your number 1. You have Brandon Cooks for now, and then you have Nico Collins, and then you have John Mechie. I want to get a marquee X wide receiver. That's going to be Quentin Johnston. Pick number 11. Of course, I would love Quentin to be on this team. I would also love Christian Gonzalez to be on this team. Both those guys are not here. So Cam Smith is a great fit. I think Cam Smith needs to be this pick because of the fact that I know that the Lions are probably within striking range of going after Cam at their spot. Because I think, honestly, corner number 2 would be a very, very good move for this team. So we're going to be taking him from the Lions, who I do think need to consider Will Levis. I do. Now, you guys have had a lot of success with a risk-averse quarterback, especially compared to what we know Goff can do. So, again, I don't know if you go QB here, but I do want to consider it. I think Will Levis is actually he's far better than what we think. I think that, like, the consensus, you look at the touchdown to interception ratio, you look at the big time throw to turnover worthy play, it's not good. But there is something special about the eye test, and it's weird. It's really weird. It's something that you cannot quantify. But there's just something there with Will Levis, and I can totally see it happening. Now, I know that I said that he needs to work with Frank Reich, and I really want him to. Y'all seem heavily against the idea of poaching your OC to someplace else and being able to bring in Frank Reich. So with that, I don't think I'm comfortable going Will Levis here. But I really want to pound the table for him because he deserves that type of respect. I really think Will Levis he's going to be a franchise quarterback as much as CJ Stroud. And I know people are going to laugh at that, but I mean, again, if you put Will Levis into a system with a top-tier offensive line, the best wide receiver core almost in college football history over the past 2 years, and top-tier running back help, he's going to do a lot better than what we saw. And if you put CJ Stroud over there in Kentucky, I'm sure he might have even similar numbers to Will Levis. So I still have Will behind him, but I do understand when people say Will Levis might be better. So I really want to just put that in there because you look at this team on paper, y'all could probably get maybe one more running back because of the fact that you're losing Jamal Williams and DeAndre's never healthy, but running backs pretty much down. Y'all can definitely do it. Offensive line looks great. Wide receiver core, if y'all can bring DJ Chark back, I think you guys are perfectly fine. I really do. So y'all are pretty much one quarterback away from keeping the offense in contention. Defense, you have some issues. Again, we already solved that edge rusher 2 problem. I know you guys have a good amount of good enough edge rushers, but I'm not here to play good enough. I'm here to win a championship and win the division first. So I do think I almost had this team win the damn division. I think a quarterback could be the way to do it. And I know y'all are going to be pissed if I take Will Levis here, but I still might. Because you know what? This is the second first-round pick. You guys had your free pick already spent on Will Anderson. I'd be pretty damn happy with that. And I know y'all need linebacker. Trent Simpson's definitely someone who I want to pound the table for. I know linebacker, corner, safety, all those could definitely be fixed. But I really want to pound the table for Will Levis here because even if he doesn't work, this is your second first-round pick, and it's out of realism. You guys definitely will be elevated the most by taking Will Levis. We'll get a good linebacker next round. We'll get a good defensive interior the next round. I got Jerzon Newton already loaded up for a team in the second. So y'all going to kill me for this because I usually kill most people for this. But I do think with how he played against Georgia and how he played against Louisville at the end of the year, and y'all going to be mad about how he played against Georgia. You watch him play, he did as well as you could probably ask him to. I think that it's worth it. I do. And I'm coming around to it. So, Will Levis, I'm going to be crucified for it, but I think that's the best pick. The Steelers need to go offensive line here. Based on the corners available, I would maybe go Jalen Jones, but I think the Steelers usually do most of their damage in free agency. I also don't really trust the Steelers apart from Joey Porter Jr. drafting for themselves with a corner. So, Broderick Jones, Paris Johnson. Paris Johnson, I've never been a huge fan of. Again, I will scroll down so you guys get to see more on my board, but we'll scroll down even more. Y'all can see I do not even have him in my top 32. I am not that high on him. I think Broderick Jones probably should be the pick. I like Broderick Jones a lot. I think Broderick Jones scared the living hell out of me earlier in the year because he lost a lot of reps to a player again in Missouri. Like, Missouri? Really? It turns out that guy's my number 2 player in the draft. So, besides that, he's been playing phenomenally well. Paris Johnson's been doing a very valiant job. However, I do know that Paris Johnson has one primary issue. And that's his anchor. He can get driven back easily. And I'm a little bit worried about that. I don't think he has enough pop to be considered the number 1 tackle the way a lot of people do. But I'm going to go Broderick Jones here. I have finally come back around to my buddy out of Georgia. I criticized a lot of people for it, but I'm willing to take it on the chin and say that I was wrong, mainly because of the fact that I fell in love with the player that ended up getting me off Broderick Jones. Pick number 14, this also has to be a tackle, so either way, it doesn't matter. If you like Paris Johnson more as a Steelers fan, which I'm a Steelers fan too, so go Steelers. Just swap them. I mean, I would take the other guy here anyway. I know that Irsay wants a young quarterback. Ain't nobody I'm going to be taking at this spot, especially if y'all didn't like. I wouldn't have taken Will Levis here either, but, you know, it is what it is. Pick number 15 for the Falcons. This should probably be an edge rusher. I like Tyree Wilson to the squad, but I got to see what other corners are available. Brian Branch is a little bit too nasty for me to pass up on at the moment. Hyper athlete, really good at man coverage. I think he could be a true boundary corner at the next level. Y'all are looking for that pair to AJ Terrell. Brian Branch is just going to be someone who you definitely want to take a big swing on. Pick number 16. This is going to be Trent Simpson. So, Seattle, y'all getting the goodies. Linebacker, I definitely think should be a position I do target. I do think it's something you guys have addressed in the first round, Jordan Brooks. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Trent Simpson has the talent as well. Pick number 17, this is going to be Jordan Addison out of USC. Without a linebacker, I think it's a pretty logical thing to go after a wide receiver. We should be having some trades coming in here somewhat soon. I do have guys like Tyree Wilson who are absolute freaks that should be taken. Looking at teams that could want someone like Tyree, I'm definitely seeing a team like Denver being like, dude, we need something. We need to go after Tyree Wilson. Now that Olu is not on the board, I do think tackle should be a primary concern still for the Patriots. And again, rip to Olu. He's going to be featured in 2024 some mock this week, so don't really think it's that much of an issue. But I'm going to go Anton Harrison here. Being able to get that versatile left-right tackle is certainly something that Bill likes to have. He's been developing his power as well. He's slipped up quite a bit this year in terms of allowing some pressures, but I do think that he can get his head and ass fired together, especially with Bill Belichick. and be able to renovate this offensive line with Isaiah Wynn no longer being there. Pick number 19, I think this might be AR-15. I really do like Anthony Richardson. Not as much as Will Levis or CJ Stroud, but I do think that's a really good option. And I love Tyree Wilson. I really want Tyree to be gone. Like, I'm dying for him to be gone. And has Anthony deserved this pick? No, not remotely. But sometimes quarterbacks don't deserve it. And he's young. He has a cannon of an arm. And he has a great frame. So for me, I'm definitely spending it on him. It's not Hendon Hooker. We're not going to take him these 2 rounds. We're going to be doing 3-round mocks soon. I'm just praying that PFF can get their head and ass wired together and just make a 3rd-round mock. But I want to give respect to Hendon because he's been so great. He's just older, 25 years old, tore his ACL. His best ability was his mobility. So when you lose your best asset and you're older, sometimes you just can't be considered a round 1 to 2 guy as much as I wanted him to be. So that's going to be Anthony Richardson, staying in Florida, super young, crazy arm. The talent is through the roof. Pick number 20 for Washington. Tyree Wilson to this squad. That'd be freaking insane. We're going to be going Jalen Jones here. Again, I think corner definitely is a position you do need to focus on, but Jalen Jones also is a really good scheme fit. My number 7 player in the draft. Pick number 21. So we could definitely look at wide receivers here. Jackson Smith and Jigba would give a much more secure target for Lamar Jackson. And honestly, I think that's a very good idea. So we're going to go to it. You guys pointed out that, wide receiver still is a concern. I will just pose this question. How many more wide receivers do you have to draft before you say that you don't need to draft more? Especially when we know that the guys you draft are really good talents. I don't know. I can't get the grasp on it. Of course, you could always say, certain wide receivers work better with Lamar. I get that. Jackson Smith and Jigba also has had injury history. So, I know you guys have some PTSD with Rashad Bateman never being healthy. But when healthy, I think Rashad and Jackson would be a really nice duo. Pick number 22 for the Jets. I like offensive line for this team. Dude, Tyree Wilson needs to get the hell out of here. I mean, good players fall in the draft. But this is going to be Darnell Wright. All right, I'll scroll down so you guys can see him on my board. Right there at pick number 34. I have a tackle above him in Javon Foster, but he doesn't fit necessarily the way I think that Darnell Wright does. So we're going to go with Darnell Wright here. Again, left tackle, right tackle versatility. I am a huge fan of that. So being able to get that and plug it in day one, going to be a huge addition to this team. And he would have been gone by the next pick. So pick number 23. I still think offensive line should be the focus here. But this is a spot where I'm willing to trade back. Bijan Robinson is still on the board. I think he needs to be taken 100%. A lot of people are saying he's going to be a top 10 pick. I don't think so, because teams will start looking at the running back class and be like, do we want to spend a top 10 pick on Bijan, or do we want to spend the 100th pick on Trey Benson? Huge fan of Trey Benson. Big fan of him. So for me, I don't think Bijan's necessarily going to go until maybe the 15 to 20 to 25 range. I think that's a sweet spot. So looking at a team that will be looking for someone to come up into that zone, we could trade up with the Raiders. Might say, hey, screw it. We'll just get the Raiders in here, replace Josh Jacobs. Not going to do that. So for this team, for this trade, I do think Bijan or Tyree Wilson needs to be taken. And Bijan is the final remaining piece here for the Bills. I do not think they want to trade with the Bills, a team that they're facing consistently, and be able to, address that, like have to deal with him twice a year, or like at least in the playoffs, right? So I'm not going to do that with the Bills, because again, that's very unrealistic. I do think the Giants could trade back there. But I do think that the Broncos might want to move up quickly and be able to snag Tyree Wilson, because I know that if a team snags Bijan and Tyree are going to be the next 2 picks. That's the bottom line. I think that losing out on Bradley Chubb, or not losing out, this is Bradley Chubb's pick. You need to replace him with somebody who's similar in talent level. I think it's a very good spot. And I know that I would actually love to trade up with the Eagles here for Bijan. I think that would be incredible for the team overall. Let's see what the cost is. You know what? Let's see what the cost is. We have the trade value chart here for you guys who have not already seen. So pick number 23 is going to be $760. Pick number 31 is going to be $600. So Y'all can do the quick math there. That's, I believe, 160, 23 to 31. So 160, that is going to be the number 86 pick. We're going to ask for a little bit more than that. So obviously, we're going to give a third-round pick, but we're also going to be giving up a next-year third. Out of respect for the Bengals, that's going to be able to get them more in striking range. I'm going to be going offensive line for the Bengals anyway. So the Eagles are going to move up. Also, the Eagles are known for spending a third-round pick to move up a couple spots. Am I wrong? They do that almost every single year. And we have that extra second round in the future. This is going to be Bijan Robinson. I just think that, Howie likes to get one offensive player if you have 2 first-round picks. So now you have an absolute stud at the corner position in Joey Porter. You also have Bijan Robinson here. Let's go back to my board. We'll scroll down a little bit just so you guys can see a little bit more. But this pick, Tyree Wilson needs to be the selection. I just don't know. I mean, this pick, we do kind of need wide receiver for this team, though. And I do know that there's a threat right here. And I don't think I'll do a one-to-one swap. I think Kayshon Boutte feels very similar to Odell Beckham Jr. talent level. His production has not backed it up. But his pure, eye test, you see him play, it's like that's an elite level wide receiver. So we'll see what happens. But I do think that Kayshon could definitely be a star in the NFL. I think he'll do better in the NFL than he did in college. Pick number 25, this is going to be Tyree Wilson. I'm not going to think twice about it. You need to replace Bradley Chubb. It's a perfect fit, and his talent level is through the roof. Production's there, physicality's there, so again, you have that 1-2 punch. 26 for the Titans. I do think that offensive tackle should at least be in the realm of possibility. I think Javon Foster would be a great fit. That's probably going to be where I go since I don't get to have as many really good wide receivers to select from. And I know in the next round, I might be able to get Zay Flowers. I'll be happy with that. Other positions I would potentially target here, I do like the idea of getting a third edge rusher. You're paying pretty much, I think, $40 million a year to your edge rushers, which is really expensive. However, I do know that they also get injured a lot. So making sure that you at least have somebody healthy in that rotation might not be a bad idea. I like Rashad Weaver, though. So big plus to that. But again, tight end, you could go Michael Mayer here. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Like Michael Mayer as a longer-term option would not be bad. I like Chig Okonkwo, though. So I can't really get too butthurt about that. I do think that Michael Mayer should be a first-round pick for sure. But we'll definitely see where he falls in this. This pick, though, it's going to be Javon Foster. I think that his upside is Trent Williams-esque. Extreme athlete, really damn good in the run game. Needs to continue being intricately refined in the pass game, but I think he'll work very well, especially with a mobile quarterback like Malik Willis. Pick number 27 for the Cowboys. I think DB, linebacker, those are the positions to target for me. I'm not seeing anybody in here that I'm dying for necessarily. Looking back at my big board, you still have some really good players. I still have top 10 players like Jared Verse on the board. That's a little bit unfortunate. But, I mean, you guys might say, Alex, why are you taking other players over certain other guys? I think they might be better fits. I think that might be more realistic. I have my number 2 player on the board still. But again, I have to understand. I have to have that level of respect for realism because y'all are coming here to see a mock draft, not pretty much like whatever the hell I want to happen. So, again, for the Cowboys, I think offensive line definitely should be in the consideration. I do like the idea of going a wide receiver too, but I'm not a fan of any of the guys who are left besides Kayshon Boutte or Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I am actually going to be going after an offensive lineman here. And, I mean, there's a lot of guys who work really well in this system, and you could choose whichever one you want. I think Osiris is a little bit more high ceiling, but I think you want someone who's a little bit more veteran and ready now. Of course, the real question is what's going to happen with Tyron Smith, because then Osiris would be a better right guard, because Andrew Voorhees plays left guard right now, has tackle versatility. I think Osiris is going to test out of his mind, though. I think he's a good fit as well, very gritty in the run game. He has some really weirdly bad reps, but then he has some crazy talented reps. It's weird to find that balance, but I do think Osiris Torrance could be a very good option for you guys here in round 1. Pick number 28. So again, I really wanted this to be Bijan Robinson. Did not make that happen. I'm going to go Antonio Johnson here, DB out of Texas A&M. I have him there at number 15, 16 on my big board. I'm a huge fan. Pick number 29. I love corner for this team. Love it. I don't see anybody worth it. I don't. So, I would also love tight end at this spot. Don't have that option either. We've already had AR-15 go. I don't see another quarterback like Tanner McKee being worth a first-round pick. So, for me, it's a tough spot because I don't really see many guys who are necessarily worth trading up for. You have some great edge rushers, but you know a really good one's going to fall to you, right? So, it's a very, very weird spot. And, again, you do still have really good edge rushers on the board. There's just so many of them. Like, why do you need to trade up for one, right? Like, why would you give up capital? And a lot of people are going to cry for Brian Bryce. I don't even know where I have him still on my big board. It's definitely nowhere close to where he used to be. So, again, this team, I'm looking at DB heavily. I'm looking at running back, but not in the first because I know Dalvin's not very healthy. Alexander Madison's up for a contract. That's a second-round issue for me. We'll go wide receiver. I think that's the position to go. And I want someone who could be a really good 2. I want someone who's going to be very dynamic. That's Josh Downs or Zay Flowers for me. I think those guys will give your best bang for your buck. And I'm going to go Josh Downs. He is getting first-round hype. He's going to be running the 4.3s. He's been pretty much North Carolina's entire offense for the past couple of years. Big fan of him. He's going to be a very nice addition. Pick number 30. Again, offensive tackle would have been my move, but I've taken all of them. So that's not a capability. Like, that's not a possible solution for us at this moment. I think defensive interior definitely is on the table. Brian Bryce might still be a first-round pick. I don't think the NFL teams will see that. I feel like that's going to be one of those guys where it's like, I was like, why did he fall? It's like, because he actually wasn't that good. So I do think going after an edge rusher is the best move for the team. Now, we all know 260 plus is usually the general range. George Karlaftis, for example. So Jared Verse doesn't fit. He's 245. Felix fits, 255. He's close enough. BJ doesn't fit, 245. Actually, BJ's up to 250, but still more of a stand-up linebacker type. So for me, I want someone who's a little bit bigger. I'm going to go with my number 2 overall player in the entire draft. It's not going to be Adita Miwa. I know people are going to talk about how much I love Adita Miwa. It's not him. It's going to be Isaiah McGuire. I think he's a great fit. He's consistently winning every rep. I think he might be having a better pass rush win rate than Will Anderson. So, again, I got to shout him out. Big fan of that guy. My number 2 player in the draft. Pick number 31. This is a pretty simple one. This is Michael Mayer. I was going to go for a guard, but I'm just going to do that in round 2 anyways. But that's going to be the video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for round 2 coming out tomorrow. See you on the far side.